Potentially the most hyped prospect since LeBron James, 18-year-old French unicorn big man Victor Wembanyama is poised to be one of the most exciting NBA draft prospects of all time. Wembanyama has been on NBA radars for years, and as we approach the 2023 NBA draft cycle, front offices have already started to strip their teams bare and gone full-on tank mode in hopes of landing what many have already billed as the next generational superstar to grace an NBA floor. Wembanyama's otherworldly physical tools, mixed with a versatile two-way floor game, represents the evolution of where the league is headed. And for Victor, it all starts with his otherworldly defensive potential. Listed at 7'3" with a reported 7'9" wingspan, Wembanyama's measurements border on the occult. Victor Wembanyama projects to be an absolutely elite rim protector at the NBA level that blocks a ton of shots, but more importantly, Victor Wembanyama is going to be an elite rim intimidator that alters any shot that crosses his path. No matter how much distance between him you feel that you may have created, you still feel Wembanyama's presence. Like the mark of Vecna on the back of Will Byers' neck, offensive players can feel Victor lurking. No matter how far, he's somehow always near. The fear that Wembanyama instills on the offense at the rim is just one aspect of his defensive game that makes him special. What will make Victor a perennial Defensive Player of the Year candidate is answering questions about his scheme versatility out on the perimeter. How will he guard ball screens? Can he effectively play in a drop? Can he hold his own on a switch? Can he hard hedge and recover? At such a young age, Wembanyama has already answered most of these questions with a resounding yes. Let's first take a look at Victor's ability to play the cat and mouse game while operating out of a drop. As the guard comes off the screen, Victor is dropped back to the free throw line in position to contest the shot if need be. He stays with the ball handler just long enough for his teammate to get back into the play, where he can then recover to his man on the pass. Once back, Victor does a good job staying in front, showing off his ability to smoothly flip his hips as his man tries to shake him free, before getting a piece of his shot at the rim. In this next clip, we see Victor guarding a big-to-guard dribble handoff, which is an action he'll routinely see at the NBA level. On the surface, this is a pretty standard defensive possession, but I want you to focus on where Victor is positioned as the guard comes off the DHO. Because of his length, he's able to plant himself at the nail with high hands and still be in position to prevent a three-point attempt. He then contains the dribble penetration and forces his man into a contested shot over his outstretched arms. More mortal bigs may have to guard closer to the level of the screen to accomplish that, but Wembanyama is a cheat code and can get away with giving a cushion that allows him to play both the shot and the drive. Wembanyama's ability to contest shooters is frankly ridiculous. Though Victor has shown vulnerability out on an island, shot creators are wary of driving on him and will often settle for pull-ups. Wembanyama can afford to give shooters space because no matter how much of it a shooter creates, Victor can still get a hand up and get a good contest. If a shooter knocks down a perimeter shot over Wembanyama, you pat him on the back, say nice shot, and dare him to try it again. Because more often than not, it's going to be a fool's errand. But Wembanyama isn't perfect, and at his age, having played legitimate minutes in one of the best leagues in the world, he shouldn't be expected to be. I mentioned earlier that Victor could be prone to getting beat off the bounce by quick guards. It's probably his most glaring flaw on the defensive side of the floor right now. Wembanyama can be a bit slow-footed when he's on an island and routinely gets beat off the bounce by smart, quick guards that play with pace and know how to use angles, taking advantage of his youth by forcing him to stand up in his stance. He's so young and he has such a unique frame that his movements can come off a bit clumsy at times. Even when he does something spectacular, it can look a bit awkward. But to me, it feels like these are moments that come off like he's still getting used to growing into his supernatural frame. There's no guarantee that his footwork won't get less fidgety, but I'd wager that as he gets older, he'll learn to be more comfortable with his body and look more fluid in his movements consistently. But for all his inconsistencies out on an island, it isn't as if Wemby hasn't shown encouraging flashes while guarding the perimeter. There are very few bigs that don't have trouble with guards, and Wembanyama has shown to be more comfortable on the perimeter with wings and stretch bigs, as those archetypes tend not to be as crafty with the ball in their hands. When Wembanyama is forced to retreat on a perimeter attack, he has the mobility to stay in the play and the length to alter the shot. It's a work in progress that is going to get progressively harder as he levels up, but there's reason for optimism. But you didn't come here just to watch Wembanyama's defense. You want to dive into the bad. With Victor, the offensive side of the floor isn't quite as clear-cut as the defensive side. It's way more theoretical right now. You can watch the clips and the highlights that make Wembanyama look like some maxed out 2K creative player, but when you dig into full game action, you'll find that Victor is a bit more raw than you might expect. Now, he certainly had moments of brilliance, and you have to put his game into the context that he earned real minutes playing in the EuroLeague. It's not like he was struggling against high school kids. If you want to see what it looks like when he puts it all together in a game, look no further than his 25-point performance versus Le Portal in the LNB Pro A, where he's doing some wacky shit like a silky smooth between the legs turnaround fadeaway. But as insane as that possession looked for somebody at his height, there are too many possessions where he hoists up a fadeaway that leaves you scratching your head. For Wembanyama, the turnaround jumper is his security blanket. It's where he feels most comfortable creating his own shot right now. If he were to perfect it at his height with his release point, it would be unblockable and one of the more deadly go-to weapons in the league. The issue is that right now, it's currently just an inefficient shot that bails out the defense that he's way too willing to settle for. Now, the thought of a jumbo KD is amazing, but the self-creation scoring package is really just a luxury rather than a necessity for Wembanyama. Even if the self-creation never comes around the way you would hope, he'll still have an intriguing enough baseline scoring package where he'll serve as a lob threat, rim runner, garbage man, and can even be a guy you throw the ball to on the block or use to space the floor and knock down shots off the catch. Wembanyama has good hands and a wicked catch radius. He keeps the ball high and has pretty soft touch around the rim. I'd like to see him seek contact and play a bit tougher, especially close to the hoop and as a screener, but he times his rolls well and is athletic enough to go up and get it. The off-ball shooting potential is where things really get interesting, as Wembanyama can be more than just a standstill pick-and-pop guy. He could do that, sure, but what really gets the juices flowing is that he's flashed the ability to also shoot it off of movement. The mere thought of running a 7'3 plus human being off floppy action is hilarious, but with Wembanyama, it's actually possible. Like other parts of his game though, the shooting is somewhat theoretical. The form is solid and the release is smooth. I would bet on it going forward, but at the end of the day, the shots have to go in, and so far, Wembanyama has yet to find consistency in knocking it down from deep. Now, the last aspect of Victor's offensive game that feels important to mention is his passing, and more so his decision-making as a passer. So much of the modern NBA game is run through bigs that can make plays for their teammates. This is an area of the game that is fairly underdeveloped for Wembanyama currently, as he has a tendency to be pretty careless as a playmaker. He'll throw the ball into traffic, force passes in transition, and quite frankly just make passes without thinking or looking. He's shown some basic flashes as a passer, usually hitting the man one pass away, but he's consistently averaged more turnovers than assists thus far in his young career. Learning to process the game so that you can make quick, decisive, good decisions isn't easy, and that's going to be a majorly important aspect of his game to watch for this season. Now, thanks to the magic of social media, we've had the opportunity to watch Victor Wembanyama since he was a 16-year-old kid going at it with Rudy Gobert in a game of 2-on-2. His legend has only grown since then. NBA teams are chomping at the bit to enter themselves in the Wembanyama sweepstakes. And as the headliner of the 2023 NBA draft class, Wembanyama's progress is going to be dissected under a microscope. With where he's already at, and still so much room to grow, his potential truly is limitless. We've heard about the best prospect in the world regardless of age for a few years now. But now is the time to not only show that he's the best prospect in the world, but that he truly may be generational.